Hello YouTube, how are you? Hope everybody's doing well, enjoying your summer. This is Mike in Detroit. Today I want to talk about practice tips. I know on this channel and on most channels, the lion's share, and in most books too, the lion's share of what you're seeing, hearing, reading is telling you what to practice. And that's important. That is important. But today I want to talk a little bit about how to practice so that you can get the most out of it. So there's a couple things. Those of you who know me know I'm a big fan of learning your chord progressions so that you can identify them in songs. I've made several videos about that. So I'm going to maybe go along a little bit and give you some tips so that your practice sticks and you're not frustrated, ready to quit, etc. Now you can't see my hands, but you can see my piano keyboard. And when I put a video together like this, that means that I'm talking to you, guitar player, I'm talking to you, flute player, horn player, violin player, it doesn't matter what you're practicing, doesn't matter if you're a beginner or totally advanced. All musicians have to spend time in the practice room. So what are we doing? So I'm going to cite several examples. I have a friend of mine, dear friend of mine too. Here's where she is. Now to some of you that may seem very easy, but to her that's challenging because that's where she is. Okay, so tip number one, if that's your whole song, the first thing to do is understand in your head what is it that you're playing. Now most of the time either your teacher's going to tell you that, or a book's going to tell you that, or a YouTube video is going to tell you that. So that's all about what's going on. We got a C major chord, we got an A minor chord, or the 6th chord, we got a F major chord, or the 4 chord, we're in the key of C by the way, and we have a G major chord or the 5 chord. Okay, so now we got what we're supposed to do. Now let's figure out how we're supposed to do this. Tip number one, find your strong and weak points. You say, well, I'm weak on everything. Okay, go to the beginning. Break that up. Okay, stop. Let's do that again. Stop. Remember, this is not performance. This is practice. So we're going to get the first 2 chords, and our job right now is to get smoothly from this C major chord to this A minor chord. Back and forth. Now, put your metronome on, put your drum machine on, put your click track on, until you have that. Until you have that. In this case, we're not too much worried about left hand fingering because it really doesn't matter. We're poking one note down here at the bass, but it does matter. Now, for my friend, a couple of questions comes up because she's a beginner. In the beginning, you got a lot of things to think about. How do you play a C major chord? How do you play an A minor chord? How do you play an F major chord? How do you play a G chord? Are my hands and my body and my muscles and my fingers, are they in good playing position? If you're a horn player, is my embouchure right? If you're a string player, am I holding? holding the bow right. Yeah, a lot of things to think about in the beginning. Now, for my friend, a couple of questions comes up because she's a beginner. In the beginning, you got a lot of things to think about. How do you play a C major chord? How do you play an A minor chord? How do you play a G chord? Are my hands and my body and my muscles and my fingers, they in good playing position? If you're a horn player, is my embouchure right? A lot of things to think about got all that technical stuff down. Now we're ready to practice. No sense practicing the cello if you don't have any rosin on your bow. Is that a quote? If it is, I just made it up. But once you have that, break this up into pieces and play that. Now, can I play that? You know, what is the tempo that I want to perform this at? Maybe I want to perform it like dun, 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 dun. I gotta practice until I can play dun, 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 dun. So you want to over practice until you bring it down to the performance tempo. Now it's a piece of cake. So can you do it? What you're doing when you repeat this over and over and over again is you're developing muscle memory. You want to get to the place that you can play this without thinking. You can be sleepy. Why are we doing all this extra work? Because when it's performance time, adrenaline kicks in, anxiety kicks in, and you want to be in other words, you want to be over prepared. Okay, got that? Now you want to get from here. Now let's add that piece. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm breaking this song, chord progression, whatever it is you're practicing. It could be a scale, it could be a run, it could be anything that you're trying to practice to get it up to performance level. My suggestion is you bust it all up and you practice little pieces of that, you know. Now I got this part, I got this. So let's call that part 2. A minor. Now also, I've said this in other videos, but I'm a big fan of say and play. Say and play. A minor, F major. If somebody comes by your practice studio, they should think you're nuts. Who are you talking to? Say and play. Now, if you're a horn player, you can't do that. You gotta think and play, I guess. And then going on to that G major chord. But that's just where my friend is. What if you're learning My Funny Valentine? And maybe that's how you want to voice the C minor chord. So let's take the first couple of chords of, say, My Funny Valentine. So what's going on? If that's the way you're going to voice it, well, all you got to do is get this B flat down here. You're playing this. Okay, now what are we playing? We're playing C minor 7. And that's C minor major 7. C minor. We did a whole thing on that on the guitar. Where is this note moving on the guitar? And it's going down here. So the song is going that kind of thing. Now we're going to depart from this C minor and we're going to go to an A flat major. I happen to like an A flat 9. I like that voicing in the left hand. You could play that voicing and be just fine. You can play this voicing and be just fine. Be just fine there. I happen to like this 9 because I have nice large hands. Right? And I got this. this is one of my favorite voicings of all time. I'm going to hold that for you piano players, in case you don't know this voicing. Now, I'm sorry, I went back to what are we playing again, but this voicing is just too beautiful. If you don't get anything else out of this video but this, get this voicing. This is an F minor 11. It's just gorgeous. And it's not that tough to play once you get it, because look at your left hand. That's a ninth. That's a ninth. Go to the minor third, look at your right hand. That's a ninth as well. So you got two ninths stacked on top of each other, and you end up with a minor 11th chord. Learn that chord in 12 keys. It's just a beautiful chord. Now back to how I practice that. I want to practice that so this becomes automatic. So I went back here. I made sure I had that on automatic. Then I went to this A major 9. There's the chord that I just told you about. So I don't have to always go back to the beginning. I can go right to this sequence. So what I'm trying to say here is isolate the area you want to work on and then go there. So I can go right to this A flat major 9. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. That's how you practice. That's how you practice. Over and over. Take a little chunk. Over, especially if it's something new or something you haven't played before, like that. Go backwards just a little bit. Here's that A flat major. Now, I know back in the day when I used to practice, nobody told me this. So if I was learning this chord, I would just try to memorize it. Maybe I take it up. Maybe I take it down. But then I'd find out 2 days later I couldn't remember that chord. But if I did it this way, if I did it in My Funny Valentine or in some other song that's got a minor 11th chord, especially if your melody is on the 11th, here's that A flat chord. Do it again. It doesn't matter what you're trying to practice. It doesn't matter. Let's get off My Funny Valentine before they hit me with a copyright violation. Let's say you're learning 2-5-1s in all keys. So your first chord is a D minor 9. That chord, or this chord. Here's my right hand. It's an F chord over D. And I wanted to, that's my 2 chord. Here's my 5 chord. It's actually a G13. And here's my 1 chord. Now, I have to play that enough. I have to play that 50 times until its muscle memory kicks in. I can play it without thought. Try it again. Okay, take my hands away from the piano, and now I've got a little rhythm in my head. Okay, now what if my goal, my purpose, there's the what to practice again, is I want to learn that 2-5-1 all the keys. Well, here's C, here's C. In other words, I'm going to keep playing until I isolate a problem area. A problem area is where I'm fumbling, I'm hesitating, I'm not sure. In other words, that's the area that needs the practice. I don't see how I got C. Got that. I got that. Now let's go to F. Evaluate. How'd you do? If you say pretty good, then go to B flat. How'd you do? If you're fumbling, then B flat needs isolation. So okay. If you say I'm pretty good in B flat, 2-5-1 in B flat, I know what it is and I have played it enough that muscle memory is kicking in. How about E flat? Did you even have to think about it? Now, again, if those of you that don't know these chords, that's not the purpose of this video. Whatever it is you're practicing, whatever song you're trying to, here's a sheet here I got in my hand right here. It says, "Fly Me to the Moon." Okay. It could be that you're learning a melody, okay, and those of us who are melodic oriented, which I am, especially on the guitar, on saxophone, on trombone, or whatever. So if I'm fumbling in any area of my practice, the tip that I'm trying to say is isolate the trouble area and then give that area a good old massage. If I'm playing Misty, one of my favorite songs, do I have that to where I don't have to think about it too much? There's that old A flat 9 again. So these washings are not as important. But let's say I'm fumbling with some part of that. I don't always have to go to the beginning and start over and go to the beginning and start over. I'm going to figure out the 2 or 3 chords that I'm struggling with or don't have it just right. And then I'm going to isolate my practice right there. As far as tempo is concerned, if you want to get, okay, let me put it this way. Accuracy is way more important than speed. Never practice sloppy. Even if you have to slow down to molasses. Let's say if you're learning a run, I don't know, this run. And you hear that, you say, forget it. And then all that is the E flat scale. So get the notes down, and then if you want to learn that run, slow, 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 slow. Slow, slow, slow. You want to get it accurate. Oh, whoops. Now you say, I got it. Now let's bump the speed up. Not too much, just a little bit. Little bit speed, just a little bit. So here I'm practicing a run. But it doesn't matter what you're practicing. It doesn't matter what instrument you're practicing on. But if I say, now I'm going to ask myself, what is the performance speed of this piece or this run or this song or whatever it is I'm trying to do? And I'm going to get practice until I'm faster than that. So I'm going to... Did you hear a mistake in there? I did. I don't like mistakes, so I'm going to iron that out. If I had made that mistake again, a couple of times, that's a clear sign I got to slow down a little bit because I don't want to practice sloppy. If I make a mistake one time, I'll live with that. So that tells me I put my bass down. I'm going to practice that little run until muscle memory kicks in. Oh, I heard that. In your practice room, leave your ego outside. Put a sign on your door. Ego, stay outside, because I gotta get true. You hear that little mistake? So now I think I got it. Maybe let's see. So I can kind of throw that in, that little run in, whenever I want. Why? Because I practiced it. I've isolated it. I've practiced it on its own. Now I have reincorporated it back into my song. But if you don't want to get fit, look at my friend. She's playing this. She's playing these kind of chords. Doesn't matter what you're practicing. This is the boring part of the woodshed or in the practice room. I'll leave you with this. Just because you can play something once or twice does not mean you have it. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It takes repetition. That's the only way that I know of to get the muscle memory you need to overcome performance anxiety. So when you get in front of people or you get around your teacher that you're going to, how many of you have said that? Man, I could play that really good at home. Then I got around my teacher, I just fell apart. Or I got at the recital, or I got in front of the band. I got on the bandstand. And for those of you who play jazz, if you're anything like me, the song usually comes back to me. And when I get to the bridge, that's when I might have brain freeze. Okay, what was the bridge again? You know, when I get to this part. Or most songs, when I get to the bridge. Now, what was that? What was that? What was that? But, you know, there are ways to get around that too. But I'm not really telling you to memorize songs. I'm telling you to practice so that you can iron out. There's a reason why you're practicing, so that you can iron out your playing deficiencies. We all have them. I don't care how good you are. You know, hey, nobody's that good that they play flawlessly all the time. So one person is working on this. Another person's working on this. Doesn't matter. One person's on the guitar, one person's on cello, the flute, etc. Now, I'm going to say one more thing about those of you who play with other people so that you stay out of band fights. Rehearsal, practice, that's the reason you have rehearsal, to iron these things out. It's one thing when you're playing solo. And most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, I'm playing by myself. I guess I don't have that many friends. But a lot of you play with other people. So, if you've got something figured out on the keyboards, on the guitar, on the drums, have patience with the people who are still working that out. Give them a chance. And those of you who are still working it out, you may not be able to work it out during the band rehearsal, but you certainly can take note that when you get back home or you get back to your studios, that's what you got to work on before. Maybe the performance is in a couple days, but you had a little rehearsal. And most of the time, the bands that I've been around, you have a couple of rehearsals. You'll have a rehearsal a couple days ahead, and then you'll have a rehearsal right before. Well, the couple of days ahead rehearsal is where you identify, I got to work on that piece right there, or in that song. I got to isolate that piece and I got to give it some attention. When you get to the rehearsal, right before you go on stage, you should have it down by then. It should just be as far as who's going to come in where and smoothing things out, blah, 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 blah. Get you all on the same tempo, little last minute kind of stuff. I hope that these little practice tips were helpful to you. And if they were, leave a comment. Now I will say, those of you who play a lot better than I do, if you have practice tips that have worked for you, that can help somebody else, do me a favor and throw that down in the comment section below. Let's start a dialogue about this. I really believe that a lot of people quit music who could be very good because they know what to practice, but nobody ever told them how to practice. With that, I'll say take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.